Tick tock, yeah. Almost. Okay, all right. Welcome everyone to our town council meeting. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to our meeting. Back from a month off, so we all happy to be here. Happy to see all of you here, and we'll start with our audience of citizens. We'll go at our sign list first. Okay.
Yeah.
And our first up will be Mr. Steve Wilson from the Police Commission. Chair of our Police Commission.
Steve Wilson, 111 Metacomet Drive, Chair of Berlin Police Commission.
Welcome, Steve. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two fairly quick items. Both of them are very important to us on the commission and to the police department. About a year ago, the town council took a great action and consolidated one of our 401ks into the better of our two 401ks. We had our small police department was on 3 different retirement plans. Now we're on 2, so we appreciate that happened. That was a wonderful upgrade for the folks that affected. At the time we did that, we discussed that was an interim step toward an overall review of the benefits for the police department. Clearly, everybody knows we're in a horrible recruiting and retention situation for anyone in the law enforcement peace officer business. It's very difficult. Even 4 years ago, when I started on the commission, if we had 2 openings, we had 20 applicants and 10 of those people were somewhat qualified for an interview. Now, if we have 2 or 3 openings, we're lucky if we even have 1 qualified person who will talk to us. Besides the political climate with police recruiting, we are at a strong disadvantage now with some of our neighboring departments. In the last year or so, they've aggressively raised their pay, put in benefits like take-home vehicles, and reinstituted or enhanced or broadened eligibility for defined benefit pension. So we had a series of meetings, I would say 8 or 10 since that 401k change. Primarily around changing those kind of benefits for the department. They seem to have hit a roadblock back in June or July. And the topic appears, at least from the police department side, to be dead in the water. So if, now I know their contract negotiations for their contract open up in January, but we had discussed a year ago, this will be a long running negotiation. It shouldn't wait until the union thing opens back up. And B, it's so important to us to show meaningful progress toward a good outcome here. Or we're really going to struggle. And I'm sure everyone's seen the police cars on the road jobs around town. You're not seeing Berlin cars covering these jobs. You have cops coming in from Cromwell, Rocky Hill, and primarily New Britain. So we're not able to cover our obligations in town here. So we have a staffing problem, and this would go a long way toward retaining the people we have and being able to lure people into the department. We're competing against some pretty robust benefit packages in our surrounding towns. So I would just like to see that conversation restarted with a seriousness and a sense of purpose of working toward a good outcome. The second thing is the chief got a letter from the town asking him to acknowledge that the Human Resource Department has the final say on hiring police officers. And he was asked to sign something. I asked him not to until I could talk to you. The long-term understanding, and I don't know that anything's changed, is that the police commission has the sole authority to hire, fire, and discipline Berlin police officers. And the hiring authority has never been vested on the town HR side. And I don't know why that conversation started or why would go around the police commission right to the chief. We acknowledge that it changed, but I don't agree with that, and we're not conceding that. Unless someone makes a pretty eloquent case to me, that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Steve, quick
Thanks,
question.
Steve.
That's actually in the charter, correct? Is that not in the charter
Correct.
that says that the
Yes,
police
it is.
commission has that? Okay, so we'd have to.
Yeah, we're,
Charter to do that.
we'll address that in a minute, but yeah. So appreciate those comments, Steve.
That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Let me see.
Next on the list, Sergeant Flynn.
John Flynn, 103 Heartland Terrace, and as you know, I'm the union president for the police union.
Welcome, John.
And so I'm just gonna piggyback on the first thing Steve discussed and echo the frustrations of the union. We provided a terms agreement to the town back in May. The understanding would probably be voted on and signed so we can move forward and build this plan. It's now September and we have not yet received that and basically talks have stalled out. Younger members of the police union are getting frustrated, as probably some of you have heard. Members are already in the process for other agencies, and I can tell you there's gonna be more to follow. Every department that surrounds us, as Steve had said, has a pension plan, and a lot of them get paid a lot more than we do. So I'm just, again, gonna say, really think that we need to get back to the table and get this document signed and get this process going again, or you're gonna start seeing vacancies more than we can cover, where I'll probably be having to do a district card, which I don't want to do. So that's all I gotta say, and I hope that we can have that discussion and we can open this up again. For the betterment of the police department and the union, I'm always willing to work with you guys, as you know. But when we gave the document to you, we can't go forward without that document signed, because that's an agreement between the town and the union. And we got about $7,000 invested in that, and we can't spend another dime until that document is signed and voted on by the council.
Yeah, thank you, John. All right, those are the two folks on the list. Anyone else in the audience of citizens wishes to speak? Yes, sir. Madam Brian.
Ryan Zellick, 107 Crystal Falls Way, Berlin Police Commission, been a member almost, 11 years now. And it's unfortunate what's happening. This is the most I've seen past few years leave the department, especially a lot of our young officers. And they're going to our neighbors, like you said, Rocky Hill, Southington. We got to keep them. We spend 5 years mostly training them, thousands of dollars, fortunately wasted. These are good officers. Haven't lost a lot of bad ones. But anything we could do to get this pension talk started up again be really appreciated. And the unions spent thousands of dollars. And if we're not going to continue those talks, they should be reimbursed by the town. It's unfortunate. I see some good faith on both sides. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. Anyone else for any topic? Oh, yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Uh,
Or would you prefer that I?
Yeah, we,
No, it's audience of citizens.
yeah,
I just wanted to ask, the letter
yeah,
that
sure.
circulated to, I'm not sure which office, you chief, I think. Where did that letter come from? The HR department? That they wanted you to sign the letters,
No, I got an email
an
from
email?
town manager.
Yeah, we were gonna,
At the bottom of the,
I'm
email.
sorry, chief,
But-
but if you're going to speak for.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I just
we-
would like to.
we can, I was gonna cover that anyway in the mayor's update. Come on up, chief. We'll, if we're done with the audience of citizens, no one else, right? On Zoom either? We have anybody on Zoom? Hang on one second, chief, I'm sorry.
I don't see anybody who.
Nobody begging to talk to us. Okay, so go ahead and close the audience of citizens, and we're now on to the mayor's update, so come on up and we'll talk about that issue first, and then we'll talk about a couple other things.
That's okay. I'm just being informal, sorry. Okay, So I received an email, in regards to the last hire. About putting together a, explanation of how we went to 43 when we were only, budgeted supposedly for 42. And at the bottom of the email was a reminder that we would be following the practice that, hires would be, the final letter of hiring would be through the HR director's office. So I saw that and I asked Deputy Chief, have we done it this way previously? Because I've only been here since November and we've hired 2 people since November, and that's not the way that it was done. And he said, no, that, the police commission has the final approval. They do the hiring. It is in the charter. I know because the police commission reminds me every month to read the charter, so I know what I can and can't do. And so that was brought up in the police commission meeting, that there would appear to be a change in the process. Also, I did report to the police commission that I was asked to provide some documentation for tonight's agenda to correct the way that we hired. I'm presuming correct the way that we hired last hire. And at that time, I also informed the police commission and I informed Arosh that we were losing 2. So we're not at the 40, we won't be at 43, we'll be at 41. We lose 2. I guess I really didn't have a statement prepared for tonight. Since I've been here, it's a little different. You have a police commission and I answer to the police commission. I also answer to the town. And in some respects, I feel like a ping pong ball. Not exactly knowing where I need to be and all. And one of the things I can say, sorry, but this is not a prepared statement, but is that when I went through the process to come here to be your chief, and in the hiring process, we talked about expanding the police department. And I've been given direction numerous times from different people in the community, different people in town government, to expand the police department. So clearly, if the problem involved how to expand the police department, if the department was at 42 and I'm told to hire 2 more or 4 more, and we actually need more police officers, I could tell you that if anybody can breathe in this room and can turn on any news channel, you will see that statistically and actually that we don't live under a dome here in Berlin, and our crime rates are going up. And I get calls all the time at saying, hey, I need to have somebody run radar. I need to have my community checked and all. And we're running with about 3 to 4 officers, sometimes 5, depending on the overlap on any given shift. And we need to have a bigger police department to meet the needs of this community with all the stuff that's going on. It takes a year. I've been in front of this council before. It takes a year. If we wait till somebody leaves, there's no guarantees we get a seat in the academy. We've not been able to fill the past seats that we've had offered to us at the police academy. We didn't get any seats at the last academy, but we were no longer hiring either, because the concern is that we went to 43. And that part of that error, I will say, is mine, because I didn't realize that the charter capped, I guess the charter or the finance board, how we did it was not well stated to me. And so anyways, that's how I ended up here in front of you right now talking.
Glad to have you, chief. So while we're on it,
You want to stay up here?
if you want to, sure.
I know you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down. You can say, hey.
Yeah, that's right. So that was an email from Arosh, right?
Sometimes
Yeah.
third time is a charm, right?
Yeah,
Let me try this again.
Yes.
Third time. So all of you are aware, when we went through the budget process, I don't know why this is rocket science, even I understand it, so it shouldn't be that complicated. When we went through the budget process, you, the council, and the Board of Finance said the 2 police officer positions that you requested, you will not put in the budget because you didn't have any openings in the academy. So when you had the openings, it come back to the council and the Board of Finance and we'll fund it. That did not happen. According to the charter, you can correct me, Mr. Corporation Counsel, either the police commissioner, you chief, or me. Neither one of us have the authority to add new positions. Needs to be approved by, all new positions have to be approved by the council and funded by the Board of Finance. Or in the past, from what I'm understand, I don't know what happened after November. Before that, the town's HR director always not made the decision to hire, made the offer letter that had a system of checks and balances built into it to make sure that you had the positions funded. The appropriate language was in there for benefits and health insurance and all of the other stuff. And that didn't happen when you hired that new position. You missed it. Let me finish, please. So my email to, by the way, I didn't ask you to sign anything. I send you an email saying for you to get the new position funded, because I can't do it. I don't know why this is very difficult to understand. It's in the charter. You need to submit an agenda item to the council for your approval, which you said you will approve. The Board of Finance clearly said, come send it to us and we'll approve it. And you will have the new position. That was it.
Yeah, I think the only issue with that last one was you were over your full-time employees with that. Because you hired two, right? You hired one that went into the academy and then you hired a second, right? One in December, and then you hired that second one.
Yeah, we had 2 seats in December. We were
Right.
only able to fill one.
Right.
We had 2 seats for the next class.
Right.
So
Speaking to Steve and to yourself, no, it's in the charter, as we just stated, obviously, that the police commission has the authority to hire police officers. The only thing they don't have the authority for is to fund those police officers, new positions. Like if you have money in your budget, if someone is out on injured, or you have some extra money in your budget, you could transfer some funds around initially. That's possible to cover it that way, but that's not the best way if we're trying to, raise the TO, right? We're trying to hire more officers than that's on there. You've got to go just through the council and through the Board of Finance to get the funding for those officers. And last budget, we mentioned there was you asked for 2 extra spots, as I recall, right? And we said, let's just wait. You didn't have positions in the academy then, from what I remember. And we said,
No.
just bring it into the new budget year, which is now. And we could vote on the funding to fund those 2. So that might just be where it's just not connecting. I'm not
Well,
sure, but
there
Yeah.
was a disconnection there.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I think
And I know you're new chief and,
Yeah, but
and the
wasn't just
police
that.
commission's
Now,
doing their
I'm
best to do it.
concerned that
Yeah.
about the conditional offers of hire.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because it wasn't just the last guy.
Right.
The guy that got hired, the one before the last one, I did the hiring on. we
In,
did the conditional offer downstairs.
In December.
Previously,
Yeah.
hirees have their conditional officers come downstairs. And that's after they go in front of the police commission. So if we're gonna talk about process here, if the HR director is gonna make the final letter, then that's not a conditional offer, but we need to do a conditional offer in order to get a background, a psychological, and the polygraph. So we have to conditionally offer that. That's been done by my predecessors. I researched this. So I want to make sure that that's exactly what we're still doing, or are we doing something different?
No, not something different.
I don't
Do
think
the
so.
same thing that you have done. It's
Yeah.
to, the final letter, as I'm told, Denise used to send it, and the officers were hired. You make the conditional offer, do the background checks. We're not interfering the hiring process or making the decision. But having the final letter going from the town seal and HR director, that's the protocol that's been followed.
I didn't get hired that way either, so I'm
Well,
totally
you
out of it.
were, that's not
Yeah.
true.
So maybe the solution would be, if this is in writing, I could get a copy of it. Some process. We have a new HR director. Maybe we need the process and codify. it.
Yeah, I know, we can work on that and get it much smoother than it's been lately.
The error of, and I'm not even sure it's an error.
Yeah.
We've been discussing this, the mayor, town manager,
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
Police commission for
Yeah.
months on this. Was that I was hired under the presumption that I was supposed to increase the size of the police department.
Mhm.
And was directed to do so. And I was also spoken to by all the members of the finance board at different times when they came for interviews. And they said, when you get those seats, we'll fill those seats. That was after we did the budget hearings. So the miscommunication was going back to the council and going back to the finance board.
I think
We didn't do that.
I think that's, yeah, because they promised that, as did we, and we'll keep that promise at the council. I know the Board of Finance will too. But we do need to make an appropriate, we have to fund them. They're not funded at this point. There's a promise to fund them. We said in the new budget year we would. So you really just have to come back around and submit those two positions over whatever you have now, full-time. It's 42, right? Full-time now? Is that what we're
We're
at?
at 43.
43, okay. That were previously funded. They're all funded, right? The 43rd one is not, 43 is not in their budget? Okay. Which would make the two that you asked for, because you were at 42 last year, right?
Yeah.
42 funded,
We-
full-time employees,
Well,
for full-time officers, and then so the December candidate was 43 and the other one was 44. So there's the two that you asked for were not ever really funded, and you're covering their costs
No,
with,
one was funded and one
Yeah.
wasn't funded.
okay. I just, we just,
42 was funded.
yeah, 40,
We're
42.
replacing people. Part of the
Yes,
problem is.
that's the other problem, yes.
And I'm gonna tell you, gentlemen, part of the problem, and lady, part of the problem was we get a seat in the academy and we have like a 2-week window.
Yeah.
to Get the person in
No, I get it. I get
among all the other.
Yeah.
Bits of hiring. So, I'm gonna tell you right now, first of all, I wasn't used to this process and I'll take the hit for that. But we rushed through the person in December and we did it again,
Yeah.
the next one. And we can't do that.
No,
The
and,
Academy's so fickle about
Right.
getting seats
yeah,
and they could wait right until the very last minute and give us 5 days and say, hey, you gotta get somebody ready. So you have to run around doing, and then you gotta try and get background, the psychological and the other stuff. It's all
understood.
crazy.
The phone doesn't
Um,
understand it either, but, one second, so, no, that's understood, and, if you have someone that, let's say someone leaves the department now, right? Someone's resigning, going somewhere else, I mean, you have that funding, that's there, that funding is there,
Well,
that's not going anywhere.
We're gonna go with 2 without having
Yeah.
come back in
Yeah.
front of the council, right?
Right, because they're already funded, correct. If two are leaving, you have 2 funded, right? They're there, you got the funding for that. It's anything over that 42 is where I think we left it at the end of last budget year. So anything over that, which was promised for 2 more, which I know that promise is still in place, we just need to run it through the budgeting process and get the funding for it. Charlie, just,
Forgive me for being in the middle of this, but the funding process needs to be assigned to someone specifically. Should the HR director or the chief or the police commissioner apply to the Board of Finance and to the council for those positions? Because I think what happened was nobody was supposed to do it and it didn't get done. Everybody
be.
wanted to do it, but it just didn't happen. So
Yeah.
we need to assign that
Well,
responsibility to a certain entity.
yeah, it would come from, it's gonna come from the police commission / chief, but both of you would say, hey, we got, we want these 2 new positions funded, new fiscal year. We brought it to you before. Now we need funding, because,
Everybody
we know you
seems to
need-
agree we need 2 more.
yes,
but
it's just
when
gotta
you're
go
ready,
through that
somebody's gotta make sure
funding
the process,
process,
yeah.
not, you're hiring who you're hiring, you're making all those decisions. It's just the funding. Gotta come back around and say, yes, you're funded for 2 more above your, as we stand now, 42. But if 2 people leave and you're down to 40, those 2 out of the 42, you already funded for those. So you don't have to worry about those, which you see how it kind of works though, right, chief? It's kind of fluid, right? Because if somebody leaves and now you're ready to hire somebody, you already kind of have that guy's filling an empty slot. The 2 new slots are for 2 people that are not on your TO at all, right? I mean, 43 and 44,
We don't have 40.
You know, yeah, you know, well, I'm saying, but you don't, you have 43 that was never, I guess, officially funded. But now if you have a vacancy, he sort of slides into the spot that you have funded for the rest of the year. But we'll figure it out. It's not that difficult. We'll get there. Yeah, it's fine. It'll be fine.
So
Yeah.
you're going to work with just so that I'm clear on this, you are gonna work with the commission to put in for those 2 extra positions.
No, I have to work with the commission to put in one position that's
One
ready
position.
at the academy.
Okay, so we've got somebody in the queue, and then that still leaves 1 spot that's open.
No,
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 No, because you, 40,
one over.
43 was December or 40?
43 was in the spring.
Oh, okay.
so
Alright.
it's gotta go to finance.
Yeah, it's got to go to the council and finance to fund it. Whatever's over what has been funded at the end of last budget year. Whatever,
We're one over.
yeah, okay, so we just got to get funding for that one. If you're replacing people that are there, you're funded. You know, 2 people leave today, you got funding to hire 2 more. You don't have to go to anybody.
Okay.
If that's the case. Well,
Mayor,
yes, please, yes,
if I may.
we'll straighten it out.
Is that I would be happy to work with the chief.
That'd be great.
Finance department.
Yeah, okay.
And come up with a basic summary and then
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
police commission involved in everything, just so that we make
Yeah.
sure that eventually if they want to go for the 44. they should be funded.
Are funded. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get, so yeah, I think it's just the process. It's not always an easy road, but I think we're on the same page now, so we'll get that done.
And then how about the process policy outlining what exactly the steps are?
Well, that's what Kate's
Yeah.
gonna work on, right? We're gonna work on that and yeah,
I'm happy to work with the chief again and with the town manager and human resources and the police commission.
Terrific.
So, and when in doubt, I'll call my favorite corporation council.
anything to add, Corporation Council, while your name is called? In case we missed something?
Well, I mean, you pretty much covered it, it's not just that it's in the charter, it's in the Connecticut General Statutes. And this is something that I talked about to the police commission at its July meeting. Right?
Yes.
You can't expend funds that haven't been appropriated for that purpose. It just doesn't work from an audit perspective. So it's not just positions, it's dollars too.
Right.
Right, there has to be an appropriation for that amount. And, I've been doing this a long time in a lot of towns. Ordinarily, there's a stamp so that the finance department can confirm that the position that the conditional offer goes out for is funded at the time that the conditional offer goes out.
Okay.
That's all. Have a stamp. The finance director initials it. I mean, that's the way it's usually done.
Okay.
So that way you don't have a situation where the police commission and the police chief are doing a lot of work and then they find out after the fact that the position's not funded.
And that will be the very process that Kate's gonna help you with and make sure, police commission, chief,
We
just,
can work with
we-
all of this.
yeah, we'll get it. Yeah.
I think my goal is to make sure that he has the information to come forth to you because it's.
Yeah, I would definitely, I would get that going so we could get through the process and you will have 2 more funded positions for this new fiscal year that you didn't have before, 2 new ones. Again, two people leave, you still got those 2 open, right? But it doesn't get you up to. You got to come back for the 2 over, to the 2 new ones that are not funded now in your police department. Those have to get
We have
funded.
one that's not funded now.
Okay,
So it'd be
all right,
one.
yeah, whatever's not, but you wanted to add, didn't you want to add 2 for the new year? Remember when you came to the
Yeah.
Board of Finance during budget season and council, you
Yes.
wanted 2?
If we have one,
Yeah.
if 2 leave.
Yeah.
And we're at 43,
Yeah.
2 leave, that brings us to 41, so we're only adding 1 to get to 42. Then you're gonna add 2 more?
Yes,
then we'll come for two more.
that's what you asked for, right? Are we all, right? We're all on that same page?
Okay.
Yeah.
Your baseline budget has 42 positions in it, period.
Yeah, so when two
Um,
leave, I'm only replacing one. And then I come forward for two more.
Anything more than 42, you need appropriation.
Yeah, because we were going to 44. That's what we talked about in the budget, right?
If you recall, the town manager budget that was submitted to the Board of Finance had 44.
Yes.
And they took 2 out to say,
Right.
you want to fund it and pay taxes on it if you're not going to fill it. So when you get to a position where you have a vacancy, fund it. So 42 is baseline and it's funded. Anything more than that is what you need to fund.
So bring 2 new positions through and we'll go ahead and plus, the budget's closed. We have a large surplus. So I know the Board of Finance and, but anyway.
Won't be funded from the surplus.
No, but I mean, we
From
on
appropriation.
the appropriation, yeah, but we're gonna do it. We told you we would, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. 44 is the number we want funded, correct? That's what we're shooting for.
Happen.
All right, we're there.
Done?
We're done. Well, we're done. Well, there's a second issue, second and third issue. Just well, if you want to stand up, you don't have to. You can go sit down. No, just to the pension plan. Yes, we have to move that forward. My goal is to get that done no later than the end of October. The only place we've had many meetings, we've all taken it seriously. We've done a lot of hard work in the last probably year or so. Multiple meetings with the union, with the town. We just have to, the last thing, as I recall, this was probably in July, I think. We just had a difference of opinion still with those actuarial tables. I don't remember, I'm sorry, where it stood, but the last thing I think I remember hearing back from the union reps there, John and Bob, was and correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll have a meeting offline like we have and get to that point. But the point seemed to be that I heard through the grapevine too, was that the buy-ins off the town actuarial tables were higher than the buy-ins from the union actuary. I'm pretty sure that's where we had left it, and we were going to try and reconcile those two figures and come to a conclusion. There's no argument with we're doing a pension, we're going to do it, it's going to happen. That's not the case. We just have to come to that final agreement with the buy-in figures. Remember, we had like 4 different scenarios in that chart. What's that? What's that? That should all be the same time. Well, you don't need to put anything forward. You already put it. You already put it forward though, right? Oh. But I mean, we have,
Needs to come.
oh, you gotta. Well, but you get, yeah, but you gave the town the actuary figures, right? You kind of, well, we'll discuss it after. We can't sign it. The town cannot, the only sticking point then maybe is, I think this might be it. We can't sign an agreement for something we don't know how much it's going to cost the town yet. So if we haven't agreed on the actuary tables and what it's going to cost the town, I can't encumber the town with, I don't know what it's going to cost. It could cost $100,000 more for the town every year. It could cost $1 million a year. I don't think it's anywhere near $1 million on either of the figures. But we do have to figure that out, and we can figure that out in the next meeting, which I hope to occur within the next, hopefully next week. If we could get together with the group that we've gotten together with the police commission and chief and Roche. And yes. please.
So,
Yeah.
if I may add.
Yep.
Remember, we gave you a draft of an agreement at the ad hoc committee worked on. The police commission, mayor was in it, Board of Finance, finance director, myself, and the union. That agreement was taken by the union leadership to the officers and they couldn't sell it. Whatever reason, that's not agreeable,
The one that we had,
one that we had.
okay,
Thought we're gonna move forward on that.
right,
So after that, Mr. Flynn gave a different term sheet.
okay.
So that by July, end of June 30th, we terminated our contract with our Labor Council. We're looking
Oh,
for
wait,
a new one.
we'll get the new labor.
Got it in August, and
Right.
they need to review that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bring something without Labor Council review to you. So that's gonna happen day after tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
That's the town staff.
Yeah.
And the Labor Council, and after that,
We'll meet.
I think I would coordinate a meeting.
Yeah.
And without the union, just the town officials to, with the actuaries and the Labor Council, so that you understand
Okay,
what this
can do that.
going to cost or what you're committing to. And I don't think everybody understands that. So once you have that, we'll put some agreement together and bring it for your consideration.
Yeah, and we'll talk though, once the town is on the same page, we'll, oh, what happened? We lost our online people. Uh, Just pause for one moment. We get back online. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, well, I know we had the new Labor Council too, I forgot about that. So, once that person's on board, he's gonna review that this week. We'll sit with the town, chief, police commission, finance director, myself, and town manager, and we'll just get on the same page, make sure we're all on the same page, and then we'll go with a meeting with the union officials and move it forward. I don't think we're not, we're there. We just have to, get to the actual final details, which we never really got to, but we will be there. And we will be there shortly. We all understand the council, as you already presented it to us. We all know, what's going on in law enforcement today. We certainly know how difficult it is to recruit. We know all the towns around us, what they have, and we know we have to go back to the pension. There's no question on that. We're doing that. That is going to happen before the end of the year. We'll have an agreement and then we'll implement it. Nothing to do with it. Yeah, we're not waiting on the contract. Like we said, that's never been the plan. Taking a little bit longer than we thought, yes, but not for lack of trying and not for lack of commitment. It will happen. We're gonna have to come to agreement. We might have to compromise on both sides. That's the only thing, I mean, there are maybe some differences. There was 4 plans that we had presented that had different costs to the town. None of them were, outlandish costs. There was just different amounts. But it wasn't anything that would break going forward to the pension. So we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And we'll see you guys, the town officials next week. And the week after that, we'll meet with the union guys and the town group, and then should be ready to go forward and get it to the council and the Board of Finance. And I know the Board of Finance too. I believe everybody's on board there too. So I can only speak for us, but we're all on board here, as far as I know, right? Consensus, of course. Yeah.
That was my understanding coming
Yeah.
out of the last conversation we had.
We're just,
So we're on
we've
board.
got to get there, and we will get there. So I promise you that, Chief, Mr. Chair, and members of the Berlin PD, we will be there. All right. Thank you.
Was there a third thing?
Oh, yes, there is. Thank you. I do remember. I forgot. Yes, thank you. The renovation to the police department. That should be coming around. That should be coming back. I believe that's still in the public building, right?
Yeah,
Yes, tell
So-
me. Yeah,
either the next meeting or the one after, the Public Building Commissioner will send you a proposal
okay. So I
to
thought-
hire to approve the bid document. Needs to go out to bid, find someone, all the specs that are lined up because
Yeah.
to get the right price on it and pull it out to bid.
Right.
So what, I think they're almost there.
Yeah, that's what I
The next
understand.
Meeting or the one after.
Right.
they'll Send the agenda item for your approval and then we send it out.
So that's coming too. The renovations to the PD, that's coming as well. The wheels of town government do not always turn very quickly, but we have really been pushing all this stuff through and we'll get there with the renovations, to start the renovations. That's gonna happen too. Nothing's more important to myself or the members of the council here than public safety in Berlin, be it fire or police. So we will get these things done. We've said we will, and we will get it done. That was it. That was number 3. I'm glad you remember number 3. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Ryan, thank you. Dave, thanks for being here. All right. So I think that's enough for the mayor's update. We killed that tonight, but that's no, we got to move on. We got a big agenda. We've been off for a month and we got things we have to get to. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for indulging us with that. We're on to our consent agenda. We've read through this and I'm missing a page here.
I'm gonna have to, can we pull one out? Because I'm gonna have to abstain from that.
Oh, okay. Which
Number one.
oh, number 1. Okay. Number 1. So, yeah, we could take a motion to move that off the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to remove consent agenda item number 1, put it in the regular new business agenda.
All right, thank you. Second on that?
Second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. All right, so agenda items 2 through 9. I'm not going to read through all of them this evening, but we have reviewed them, and if there's any questions on any of the topics other than one, now would be your time. If not, we'll go ahead and take a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept consent agenda items 2 through 9 as listed tonight.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second that.
Hey, any other comments or questions on that? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. And I guess we consent topic, what was that, one? Huh? So we can go ahead and take a vote on that now as well. Make a motion on that.
Okay, I found it. I'll make a motion to approve the request of the New Britain Youth Museum at Hungerford Park to waive the permit fees for a shed permit. The total amount of the fees to be waived is approximately $230.
Second on that?
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. And one abstention. Yeah, thank you. Okay, on to new business, which is our appointment of a new council member, but unfortunately it comes with the resignation of Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Okay, so I'll go first.
Brendan Luddy. Oh, you're gonna jump right in. I like that. All right, that's good.
I think my letter is self-explanatory, but since the summer of 2019, about this time, geez, almost 3 years ago, I was approached myself and 3 other young gentlemen to purchase and be involved in taking over the company to be owners. I would say by the end of the year, 2019, we both got legal representation and we were moving the process forward. And then the whole world went through a black hole and everything slowed down. And probably on my part, a little naive about how long that process was going to take, was probably wouldn't have been on the ballot last time, because if things were normal, it would have happened earlier. And there are a handful of people that knew that I was thinking of doing this. It was not an easy decision. It was fun, but I have to think about myself. I'm driving an hour each way every day. I'm looking at things now that I never had to do before. Looking at payroll reports, accounts receivable. accounts payable.
Regretting that decision, are you? No.
Fun stuff.
Now, everybody I know is going in the opposite direction and I'm being involved in purchasing a business. So it was announced in January finally, this year that acquisition has happened. And the mayor was very gracious and asked me to, find the right time, and I stuck around to help out do some things. But I don't take it lightly. I want to thank the town residents for voting for me. We all had that thought when we ran for office, like, who the heck's gonna vote for me besides myself? It was a fun experience, but I have to move on to the next chapter. And that's where I stand. Hope I didn't put anybody in a bad position, but I appreciate the time here.
Well, we appreciate having you, and with that, let me just read we do have a
Oh, boy.
proclamation for you, not getting off that easy, and everyone up here will have
Oh,
their
not to do
chance
that.
to roast you or whatever they want to do with you. So we will just have a proclamation. Town of Berlin recognizes Deputy Mayor Brendan Luddy. You have served with distinction on the town council from November 2013 until now. My goodness, yeah, that's a long run. And the deputy mayor from November 15th until today. And while on the council, Brendan, you served on just about every committee there was: Budget Committee, Ordinance Committee, Audit Committee, Technology Committee, Playing Fields Committee, the Meeting House Committee, Fire Strategic Committee, Physical Services Committee, Community Conversations Committee, which I'm not sure what that even is, but that's all right. And the Calendar Committee. So
Yes.
that's your favorite. I know
was
that was
it.
your favorite, the Committee of
It was
One.
a hard one.
You did a great job on that every year since.
There's gonna be a big fight for that one, I know it.
Yeah, people are gonna want that. That's a sought after committee. So really in recognition of your service to the town, which is a long time to be on the council, and we know it's so much fun here, and it is very rewarding, though. It really is, in all seriousness. Your contributions and to improve the quality of life in Berlin, we extend you, many years of health and happiness in your future endeavors, and we're gonna miss you, but we
Appreciate
understand.
that.
We understand why you're going, and
Thank you.
congratulations on leaving and being here all those years. And we're not done. Not done.
We're not done.
Not done.
Miss
So,
Donna.
Brendan, we certainly are going to miss you.
Oh, boy.
With humor and all the talent that you bring to this table. Hard shoes to fill, but I'm sure that we will see some good shoes filled. I have an official citation from the state of Connecticut, the General Assembly. And basically it's saying the same thing that Mark has said. Thank you for your service as deputy mayor to the town since 2013, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
And, we will miss you. We'll miss you terribly. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
One of these days,
Get that
these
on.
things will be done.
Thank you. That's very nice. And I did not expect that. I told Mark not to do that.
Well,
Uh,
we got to do it. So now, whoever wishes, Charlie?
I want to thank Brendan for his hours and hours of patience putting up with me, and his wisdom and his research to help us through these decisions. He volunteered a lot of time to this town, and it's really appreciated. He added a lot of value to what we did here. And I can't thank him enough. I will miss him, and like I told him earlier today, I don't know whether to be mad at him for leaving or jealous, so I wish him the
I
best.
caught him trying to put a flat in my tire. Just kidding.
So you couldn't leave. Anything else, Donna, to add? Not at all.
Thank you.
But we'll see you around town.
Yeah,
We'll see. You're not going anywhere.
that's true.
I hope you're not going anywhere.
I did want to say that, serving here with you the last couple of years, it's really extremely evident that the love that you have for this town and the care that you put into the job that you do. And it's inspired me a good number of times when thinking about things that we do around here. And I really appreciated working with you in the Senior Center, Community Center committee. You always had very even touch with everybody. was very open-minded with everything that we talked about there, and I appreciate all the work you've done. I know it was not an easy decision. I can't imagine it was.
Appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your help.
I'd like to add that, while we didn't work together for unfortunately an extensive period of time, Brendan, I've always admired your service to the town. It takes a lot to come to council every 2 weeks for a year and then magnify that by 9. I mean, Brendan, your service to this town is really remarkable. And if it means anything to you, I've always appreciated the practical perspective that you've offered council and through your experience in your own profession. And I think it's gone a long way through your work on the council as well as your work on the senior center committee as well. Thank you for being a tremendous deputy mayor over the last several years and for the last year that I've been on the council, and congratulations on this next adventure in your life.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Peter.
I guess it's my turn, huh?
Yeah, Mr. Elder Statesman here.
Yeah, thanks. I really have mixed emotions. Well, I'm glad for Brendan and his family. Their loss is the town, or their gain is the town's loss. Brendan and I worked on playing fields since I got on in 2014. He won't admit it, but he voted for me when I first came on.
You did?
And when we were in the majority, I chaired the playing fields committee. When Mark was elected, Brendan chaired the playing fields committee, and it didn't skip a beat. I mean, it business before party. Brendan's always that way. And as Mark says all the time, we're volunteers here. I mean, he's done his time, more than he should have probably. But, while someone replace the position, we can't replace Brendan.
Thank you.
So all the best. And if you ever think we can do something for you, please feel free to call me.
I appreciate it. I told the mayor before, I had a whole stack of favors I needed to have done that I just couldn't, and I forgot it. So I'll have.
Oh,
I'm
bring
just kidding.
it by anytime. Just put them on a Roche's desk and we'll work through them. But Brennan, again, thank you so much.
Appreciate
You've
it.
been such a help. You were on the council before I
Peter
got.
just made me think of something that when
Yeah.
I first got sworn in here, that first night, they had a little ceremony for Adam Selena, and I think he was here 10 years. And I said, oh my God, he did this for 10 years.
Here you are.
I'm almost there. Like, whoa, went by quick.
Yeah.
But thanks for all the kind words, and I'm not going anywhere immediately, but maybe in the future, I may be having to get closer to the office, but we'll see how the market goes.
Right, Brendan, thank you again for your
Okay.
service. Good luck. Man of few words, but all of them golden, buddy. Everything comes out of your mouth.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Brendan.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting now if you'd like. Yeah, I don't know, he's running out. I don't know where he's going. I don't know what he's doing. He's out of here.
We voted the whirling conversation.
Ooh, am I glad I'm out of here? Ooh, I'm glad I'm out of this.
Go to Portofino's for a drink.
Yeah.
Brendan's buying.
Okay, so where are we at now? We're still on number 1. We never actually got to number 1 yet, I guess. Sorry about that.
Still there.
So the appointment, Kate, so we have to nominate,
Yeah.
nominate someone? Okay, so I'll have Charlie.
I would like to nominate Mrs. Sandy Capola.
Okay.
The slot.
All right. That's good. Second on that? All right, thank you very much. Questions? Sandy does come to us from planning and zoning, so she's been on planning and zoning for a while. She also comes to us at a apropos time, I think. Has worked for many years in the healthcare industry. So, as we go forward with changes to hopefully positive things with the VNA, we look forward to hopefully we'll take up some of that experience as well. So, any other comments or questions before we vote? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Sandy, welcome. And come on up. It's like, let's make a deal. Come on up. The price is right, whatever it is. Come on up and congratulations, we think.
Yeah.
Brendan couldn't talk you out of it, could he? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, before she takes her. seat,
Yes, yes. Yes, that's right. Swear her in.
You sound as sure as the premise of the case may be that you will faithfully discharge the foreign law, your duties as a member of the town council to the town of Berlin to the best of your ability. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. None whatsoever. Well, welcome, Sandy.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Hopefully after tonight, you won't think it's a mistake. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so we're still on topic one. It's a long topic. We're going to take a vote to elect the new deputy mayor. Of a nomination for the deputy mayor. Well, I'll go ahead and do it. Sure. Yeah, sure. Charlie Panessa, nominate as the deputy mayor. And we need a second that. Questions, comments? He's hoping somebody speaks up against it.
Is this the part where we apologize?
Yeah, can we not do, can you not do this? So thank you, everyone. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Mr. Deputy Mayor,
Thank you.
congratulations, I think. And good for you, lucky you. All right, yes,
Important question.
yes,
Does this mean he gets to read all the motions?
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All the names.
I'm gonna get him for this.
All right. you
He'll
want
be working it.
to agenda item number two?
Yes, yes.
So these are the charter revision questions. As you recall, the meeting before, you sent it back with your revisions were accepted and they drafted these questions. Come back to you. And
Back to us.
so you had a chance to view them
We did.
and this is an opportunity for you to discuss it and then also move it.
Yes, that's where we're at. So as you know, we've gone through this, and then of course, after we sent it back to the Charter Review Commission. Some of us were there at that meeting too, and with the help of the town attorney and Kate and everyone, we came up with these questions. They seem to cover what we all agreed to here on the council. And the nice thing was also on the Charter Review Commission, they unanimously agreed as well to what we were trying to accomplish with these 4 questions. Obviously, number 4 has several parts to it, which we all thought was the most important parts to the most important things to get on the ballot in November. It's difficult. We had other items that we wanted to get through, and it was difficult. I think we learned from past experiences that it was difficult to tax the voters with too many things on the ballot, that it's difficult to get the information out and for the voters to grasp what's there. So we try to keep it as short and simple as possible. I think we all agree that the biggest issue is our VNA, and this keeps it fairly simple. It stays in the charter until we change it via ordinance, if this does get passed in the election on November. And as we have been searching for a number of years now to make some significant changes that may help the VNA continue, certainly financially and with their services, We're going to continue to do that, but until we come up with changes, should this go through, this, this will stay in the charter. And if we can come up with some different plan that we think works and works for the town and works for the VNA, we'll pass an ordinance with whatever changes we have come up with, and we're still obviously looking at this and studying this for which will be for a while still. Then we could change some things. And I'm still disturbed that I still see one or two individuals that have been in all these meetings. Actually, one of the individuals is on the VNA board, and after this person was at all our meetings, and from day one, no one on this council or anywhere has said we want to eliminate the VNA. That is not the purpose of this, but I see this one person still putting it out there, and that person's on the VNA board as well. So that's just disturbing to see on social media, but that's what we have to deal with. So just, that is not the point. I'll say it again. I think we've all said it up here. I've certainly said it many, many times. That's not the purpose of this. It's to give the town some latitude in how to change some things and make it more fiscally responsible, so we're not over budget by $750,000 to $1 million in the past few years. So, and we haven't come up with a good fix yet, with a viable option really, but we're going to work on it. And when we do find it, which could be tomorrow, which could be a year from now, hopefully we can pass an ordinance, and we can move forward with that, with those changes. So that's what that's for. The town manager, obviously we talked about, it's difficult, although Arosh has certainly followed the rules and moved to town, and we appreciate that. But we've been through this a few times with town managers, and it's very difficult in today's world to find an experienced town manager. They're typically more senior in their positions, and it's difficult to uproot them, especially in Connecticut, if they live in an adjoining town or in the state of Connecticut. It's not that big to drive to work, right? So it's just it sort of ties our hands and eliminates candidates, as has happened in the past. So I think it would be the prudent thing to do, but that's up to the voters, as is the VNA. And of course, the third one is the Board of Ed. We just kind of clarified what's already there. Really no changes there whatsoever, just kind of a clarification. And then we have the fourth question there with the bid threshold, which we've talked about for a long time. The fire marshal, just fixing that. That's just some language. The Board of Finance revised the prohibition for the Board of Finance, to serve on other boards and commissions. Obviously, that helps our expertise with someone that they're the only board and commission that is not allowed to do that. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But we'll see what the voters want to do. Revise the collective bargaining agreements of the council. Make sure we review them, and after required Board of Finance and Council to include the annual actuarially determined contribution in the annual general fund budget. We try to keep it as simple as possible. Not easy to do, really, but this is what the Charter Review Commission has come up with, and with the help of Attorney D'Onofrio and what's the other attorney's name? I forgot. Medic. So we appreciate that help. So here's the questions. Here's what we've come up with. We just need to move them, that they, if we agree, that they'll be obviously submitted for the November 8th election. And I hope all of us, if we do, move these forward, which I'm confident we will, that, we get the word out to the folks in town. I mean, this was, unanimous by us, unanimous by the Charter Review Commission. And I think we're only doing this, as you mentioned before, Peter, we're here to kind of help the town and make it a little bit easier for us to change and or fix things. So anyway, what do you guys think? Questions, comments?
I just had a couple of minor
Sure.
comments, and I know we're up against the gun timing wise,
Yes.
so I want to just bring this up for discussion, and obviously deferring to the will of the council and the thoughts on corporation council. As far as the omnibus question goes, question 4,
Mhm.
I just had a couple of my very, very minor suggestions that maybe will help place some of these provisions into context. for the ordinary person that is not necessarily familiar with the goings on of the town procedures. And so the first very minor suggestion that I had on question A is to just add in some language of public contract bidding. So it would read as subsection A, sections 3-8 and 5-5, increase the public contract bidding threshold to $25,000. That would just, I'm not sure that if someone were to read that, they would quite understand what bid threshold means. So that might be some helpful, concise language to just clarify that for someone who's reading it for the first time. One suggestion for subsection C. I know that in the preceding section, question 3, there's just some phrasing of how the actual provision will read in the charter. I know that we're trying to make this particular question as concise as possible, so we can discuss as to whether or not actually placing how that provision will read in the charter would be helpful to someone who's reading that subsection for the first time. I'm not sure I could see it as both ways. It adds to the length of the question, but at least someone can see how that language would operate within the charter. My last very minor suggestion pertains to subsection F on the omnibus question, just adding in determined pension contribution, just so that people read that and they know that it relates to the pension. I think that may place that provision into context as well for someone who's reading it for the first time. I'm happy to hear everyone's thoughts on it. Those are just 3 things that came to my mind as I was reading it, trying to kind of place myself in the shoes of someone who's reading this stuff for the first time, but I'll be happy to hear everyone's thoughts on it. And if we think it's going to bog down the process, then and wouldn't add too much clarity to the questions, then we can proceed, but we just would be curious to hear everyone's thoughts on it.
Sure, but I'll let Attorney DiNapoli just weigh in since he was.
Sure. On 4A, I don't have a problem saying increase the bid threshold for purchases to 25,000. I do have a problem saying increase the public contract bid threshold because 3-8 and 5-5 apply to not just contracts, but purchases. And for most of the transactions we're talking about under $25,000, the town does not enter into a contract. They just issue a purchase order. So if you want to clarify it that way, we could say increase the bid threshold for purchases to 25,000.
Do we think that would be helpful?
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah, if you
that
think,
makes sense.
I mean, keep in mind, there's going to be explanatory text.
Okay.
So
right.
hopefully people look at it.
Yeah, well,
But
That's
there is going
always-
to be explanatory text that the voters will see when they go to cast their vote on November 8th that will explain each of these items in
yeah,
much more detail.
right.
The other edits, I don't have any issue with.
Okay.
I think it makes sense, especially in F, to
Yes,
refer to the ARC as the ARP.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you were saying. There was specifically.
So for subsection C, it would just be, so you see how question 3 reads, basically says, so that the new second sentence of 2-8 will read, and then it provides the actual language of how that text will appear in the charter. My suggestion would be just to do that same thing for subsection C so that people can see how the actual language will appear in the charter. But if we think it will unnecessarily add to the length of the provision and confuse people further, then we can leave it as is. But I just thought that, to be consistent with the preceding question, maybe we would do the same thing for subsection C. But then again, it's different because it's an omnibus question, so length is the obvious issue. So
What do you think, Kate?
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with the length of the question.
Right.
I did send it to the printer beforehand. But he was optimistic that questions from that. So we can.
I just do the, you want to just do the two, to me, the purchase threshold makes sense. And as is the word pension, that's 2 words. Would that
Yes,
kill us?
two Makes sense. I'm concerned with C as
Yep.
far as, because we would be adding fire protection shall be provided by the volunteer company there to for established. Is that correct? What you want to add?
Yes.
11 words.
Okay, I mean, you've done this more than me, Kate, obviously, so whatever you think is gonna be best and most understandable for the average voter, average reader, I think is what we should do. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, our hope, as Corporation Council says, is if folks read the explanatory text, but we just don't know, right? People are gonna read and not read, but if it pushes it over, Kate, I mean, it does.
I
It
think
would,
we have to set the question.
yes, we do, right?
I can't say.
Yeah, no, I know. You know what? What do you think? We just, those 2 words won't kill us, right? On,
I mean, if there's
A.
too much uncertainty about it, then we shouldn't do it.
I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And C,
makes sense, but it's a lot of words.
It's a lot of.
I agree. It does make
And-
sense. I
And,
mean,
and with the omnibus question, brevity would be the thing that we should try to accomplish, so.
That's what we were going for.
Okay.
Something
All right.
printer could accommodate on a ballot.
So what are we thinking? Everyone else, you guys good if we make those 2 one-word changes on those 2 sections in the 4? Let the other one go? I like the other, I'd rather put that in the other one too, but
But if it's gonna bog it down,
it's
then,
gonna mess it up. Yeah, it's probably gonna. mess
especially
it
if we're not sure as to whether or not it will then affect how the question.
But again, it comes down to how we can educate the public, hopefully all of us, and, I know we're gonna put out the text stuff out and the citizen and online and all that, so we'll just do the best job we can and hopefully educate our voters the best we can and go forward. So are we good? Everybody good? Yes?
One thing to keep
Yeah.
in mind.
Yes.
With respect to educating the public
Yes.
is once this is sent to the ballot tonight, we begin a period where there can be no public funds expended to advocate for or against the passage of the questions. So, as individuals, you have First Amendment rights and you can express opinions. You can't use town resources to do so. So for example, if you all have town issued email accounts, you can't send using a town email account, which the town pays for, an email urging someone to vote for or against a question. Likewise, if, there's a opportunity to notify people about the date and the time and the substance of the questions, that's fine. That's not advocacy. And the State Elections Enforcement Commission, which enforces this prohibition, has determined and defined advocacy as that which, when reading the entire communication, a reasonable person would deem to urge a particular outcome. So, when in doubt, show it to me if you're going to do anything. But, it gets pretty complicated, in some towns, there's political committees that are set up. And those are regulated entities. An individual can spend his or her own money to urge an outcome up to $1,000, but you can't solicit contributions from others. If you want to raise money to get a question passed or defeated, you have to set up a political committee through SEC and the town clerk.
But if one of us wanted to, write something to the paper, a letter,
Fine.
right?
It's fine.
Say, hey, here's what we're doing and urge you to vote for it, right?
Also, information, would that constitute advocacy?
No, I don't-
No, I mean,
Yeah.
advocacy is either saying vote yes or vote
Right.
no, or
Urging.
listing, like, let's say you wanna get a school project approved. Advocacy would be saying, if you don't approve this, the kids are gonna be in trailers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, so, you know, with a reasonable person, when reading the communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the idea that you're trying to tell them to vote yes or no. That's really the test.
Yeah, yeah, as a, not as an individual though, you're talking about,
Using public, you know, the
Only
ban-
public.
The ban only applies
Public.
when the referendum is pending, okay?
Yeah.
To advocacy and using public resources. Individually, you could do whatever you want, but
Mhm.
not with town resources.
Yeah, okay, the town's just gonna put out the text.
You want to pay for a sign and put it on your lawn? Fine.
Yeah.
You want to pay for a sign and put it on town property? No.
Yeah, okay,
You want to do something from your personal email account?
Right.
Fine, not from your town email account.
Personal computer, fine, town issue, iPad,
Oh, fine.
fine.
You know, you want to advertise in the paper.
Right.
the changes that will occur.
right, along,
I have 30 days. There will be also the mandatory check,
yes,
which we will authorize to have done.
Right.
Which of course, I will go to my favorite book. And.
yes,
That whole bit, but.
Yeah.
that- And then those
Yeah.
will be printed.
yeah,
Those will be put into all absentee ballots.
oh, okay,
And and
Yeah.
then they'll be available at the, and if anybody will be available on, the mandatory check will be available on the website and, you know, anybody. could do it.
okay,
Right, and I just want to be clear, that everybody understands there is a constitutional question on the ballot about early voting.
from the state, yeah,
So there's really 5 questions on the ballot for
Yeah.
November.
oh boy.
Why I'm showing it as blank, that's a good question.
Right.
So
Sort
it
of-
will really be, these questions will be 2 to 5 on the ballot.
Okay. So you tell me that last one just will never make it, that's all right, no, I'm just kidding.
But we just worked so hard on it.
Yeah, I know, oh, that's what we try to,
First, I started here.
Yeah.
Is that people get to know the questions.
right,
And I've heard that.
Yeah.
Since I started here,
yeah, well,
from the 1995 referendum.
nice,
So I think that's what that's for. That's the big thing, is that people know it's.
yes, if people read what's out there, which we still have that problem today with whatever we're talking about, people don't seem to know, right? Or haven't read it. I don't know where they look, but anyway. Okay, so, what do we need to do, Kate? We just need to, so we just, so you're gonna read now,
I don't Have the edits.
Okay, let me get it for you. And
Just-
then
just 2 edits, right? The 2 words?
They're in section 4, correct?
Yes. A is the first.
I love it. Well,
That's pretty nice, right?
I'm just having so much fun with it.
On the line, everyone.
Oh, Chairman's gotta go.
I'm gonna start down.
Well, power goes.
Yeah.
And then it just goes down to.
Yep.
Okay, good, she did that one.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, we'll go ahead and read that. Take it, we're gonna,
I move the following questions be submitted to electors at the November 8th, 2022 election. Shall the charter, section 8-17 be amended to provide the town with option to provide public nursing services via ordinance as provided in the proposed new charter 11 of the charter, chapter 11 of the charter? Shall the charter, section 5.1 be amended to remove the requirement that the town manager reside in Berlin during her or his tenure of office? Shall the words on the ballot be added to the second section, second sentence of section 2-8 of the charter regarding the Board of Education? So the new second sentence of 2-8 shall read, no party designation shall appear on a ballot in connection with the names of candidates for said board. Shall the following revisions be made? A, section 3-8 and 5-5 increase the bid threshold for purchases to $25,000. B, remove the fire marshal section 6-9 and place into new section 6-10. Section 6-9 substitute the words or as otherwise provided by this charter or by the ordinance. D, section 4-4-1 revised prohibition of the Board of Finance member service on other boards and commissions. E, section 3-8 require all collective bargaining agreements be presented to the council for approval consistent with applicable Connecticut law. And F, section 6-11-4 require the Board of Finance and Council to include in the annual determined pension contribution in the annual general fund budget. Actuarial determined pension contribution in the general fund budget.
Okay, so that's, so second on that? Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all is in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. And second motion? More, Charlie, on that one.
I move to authorize the preparation and printing of explanatory text by the town clerk approved by Corporation Council.
Thank you. Second on that? Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all is in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Getting through that issue. All right, well, yeah, let's go.
Number 3, okay.
Let's go.
So this is an update on the ordinance to regulate short-term rentals. If you recall, in June, the ordinance committee met and charged town to look at an ordinance. And a group of us met, chief of police, myself, the town attorney, the town planner, the building official, health department, and we reviewed what other towns had done. What would it look like the ordinance and the language? So I'll get to the bottom line here. What we are recommending to the council at this point is not to do an ordinance at this time.
Okay.
A few reasons. One, this was an isolated incident. When looking at, this is probably one of those things that have aged good. Berlin is a beautiful, charming town. But if you look at Airbnb rentals, it's not like a shoreline community. There aren't hundreds. You're lucky if you get 1 or 2 every once in a while. To go ahead and come up with a process that would pretty much, one, it would burden a lot of the town departments to go and do the inspections, check fire alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, building code, and also have a fee for people to apply, inform neighbors. All of those steps that will require would be burdensome. And in addition to that, the PD feels comfortable that right now in what's available in the public domain with social media monitoring and all that, anything like that can be detected earlier. Have some measures in place so that we could actually address it. And question is, do you really want to do something because one bad apple and sort of a government overreach and telling people if you're going to rent your room to Airbnb, there's a series of things you have to do. It's going to cost you money. And most citizens do the right thing. They're peaceful. It's a good thing. They bring a few people to town. They probably shop here and go to restaurants and all that. But we felt it was an overkill to address something now. So our recommendation is to not to have an ordinance right now. Put into a discussion.
No, I mean, I know we talked about this before and I know, and we haven't, this says that one of the locations in question, right? They didn't,
Orchard Road, yeah.
nothing's happened again there, right?
Shut down by Airbnb.
B&B shut it down, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, really?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We reached out to Airbnb.
Yeah,
They took it
yeah,
off the list.
okay,
There were a couple of other rentals that people had already booked. but
yeah,
they Took it because the reviews look horrible.
right. For
Airbnb.
B&B, yeah, for Airbnb, yeah.
They were very responsive to,
Yeah.
when we reached out to them, the PD.
As was yeah, the police department got out there and they did their thing for the second time and, okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. We can just wait and see. I don't, that's the first time it really came up like that. We really haven't.
I recall
Yeah,
one from a
issues.
couple summers ago.
There was one at
There
I
was
think the
one
same place
that wa-
maybe.
Yeah, at the same place.
Yeah, yeah.
It
but-
seems like a once a year kind of situation. So in terms of early detection, what is the plan for that? It's like monitoring social media and
Yeah.
Sure, they
seeing
could
if
do
there's
that.
an event planned at that, at any particular property.
And then also, like in this particular one, the neighbors are watching the house. There were 3
Right.
cars in there and they called the PD.
Yeah, I'm sure the neighbors will monitor
This location.
look
yeah.
social media better than anybody, right? Yeah, and tell us.
And
So,
the police officers now.
Now they're aware.
Aware of, when there's traffic building up, sort of intervene and
Yeah.
get a sense of the situation.
It seems like with the fact that Airbnb took it off the site, that it's gonna be very hard for anybody to book the house anyway. So that kind of eliminates the further issues anyway. it seems.
Pretty much probably the end of it, yeah. Well,
At
hope.
least that
There
look-
are other rentals.
There's
right?
other.
Sure.
I would be curious to know if, I don't know how it works in practice, but I'd be curious to know if it's banned on one, if it's also, if the other apps are notified of that too.
Usually, yes.
Wasn't there some state's attorney involvement at some point early on in the process?
I don't know.
Thought I heard about, I thought that was mentioned at the ordinance committee meeting, but
Oh, I don't remember.
maybe that was just.
I see Jennifer Capone. Do you want to add anything, Jennifer? I know you helped
So,
us with.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Congratulations to Sandy. So I did contact the Assistant State's Attorney in charge of the housing session for your area. And we did talk about, potential enforcement mechanisms. They are looking more broadly at the issue of raves being held in residential areas and potentially pursuing a nuisance claim through the housing session. So that is something that the state's attorney's office is looking at because these are occurring with more frequency during the spring and summer months. So yes, that may have been mentioned in that meeting that we had, that June meeting. I do want to point out too, that with regard to the subject property, that your planner did issue a cease and desist order. So that did go out. It was received because we saw that it was hand delivered as well as delivered via certified mail. We know that it was received. It was removed from the property. So, the property owners are aware, it appears, that the town is watching what's happening with the property. So that may be why we haven't seen any further activity as well.
Okay, I mean, I think we're certainly well aware of it and we'll keep monitoring. If something changes, we can always take the ordinance route if we have to. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Looking into that.
Moving on to agenda item number 4 is the update on the Percival soccer field. This is something that Jennifer and Nacho and Steve Wood has been working on. This, you'll find that putting it off a little bit, pushing it out, up with a creative way to save some money too. So hand it over to you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Hey, how are you?
Congratulations, Charlie.
Or Charlie?
Yeah, no.
So we started this whole entire project probably a little bit over a year and a half ago. We went out for the first time. We realized that the project was a lot bigger than we initially thought. We went out for a feasibility study and turned that into a conceptual design, how exactly we would attack the problem currently going on at personal soccer, especially with the whole entire side of the field disappearing from where they pushed all the stumps and the blast rock. All the fine soils have now just merged into the ground and it just became these huge holes. So with Tom Linding, we came up with the design. We're gonna go in, strip all the existing topsoil, if you call it topsoil, there's about an inch, which mostly is just the layer of the sod. Mix all the soil together, push it to one end of the field, and as we are redoing Biscoglio Field, the grant that Joe or someone's got us, we're gonna repurpose the soil from the inside of Biscoglio, transport that to Percival Soccer, saving somewhere around $40,000. With that with that savings figured into it, we didn't want to rush and limit ourselves to what kind of contractor we'd be able to get so late in the season, especially with trying to get PVC pipe, swing joints, valves, and so forth and so on. So we met with Berlin Youth Soccer and Berlin Athletics to discuss the game plan, and then we ran it through Park and Rec, and everybody seems to be on board. And one of the biggest cost savings that's going to help us throughout the years is we are going to tap into the water main on the end of Georgini Drive and plumb it into the irrigation system to run not only personal soccer, but Beretta Field, which will save us sewer charges on the back end.
Now the fun part. Sandy, welcome and congratulations. So we sat down and we talked to Kevin and Arosh about this project, about process of moving it forward, moving it to 2023. Currently we do have a little less than $200,000 in the project fund for this renovation. We are asking to move forward with the finance actually recommends appropriating $250,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance. This goes with the strategy of not bonding things for this kind of project that you guys have been consistent with. If you guys are on board with that process, then we will continue to work on that and have an agenda item for the next council meeting to appropriate that money. Feasibility study, as you guys see, came to about $433,000. That does include contingency. It does include the, added expense of waiting another year, but confident that if we could get that 250, we should be good to do the project and do it the right way. So it doesn't have to be done in another 5 years.
Okay, thank you. Makes sense to me. What do you all think? Good? We good? All right.
Yep.
All right.
I
Thank
do
you.
appreciate you guys making sure we saved a lot of money too. That's great.
It's always helpful. Yes, it's always helpful.
We tried.
And thank you, by the way, for the fence at Crystal Creek and the new unleashed area. I hope that's going okay.
Haven't heard really any complaints except for like the initial rollout. I was out there this weekend walking around.
Yeah.
They were happy. Some people are using it. Everybody's abiding by the new leash law. And seeing everybody walking around without a leash was great.
And we got trash cans there now, I think, right?
Trash cans without lids.
Okay.
Jan and Kate have been there every day.
Yeah.
Patrols. They've
Oh,
also
good.
been patrolling Bicentennial and, reminding people, hey, you have to have a
Are
leash in
we
this area.
trying to make the transition there? Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, I appreciate that too.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thanks.
day.
All right. See ya.
Right. Agenda item number 4, have Paula, I think she's there online, to give you some highlights about the contract that we just completed. July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2024. Took a while to negotiate this contract, done by the former Labor Council. But I think we're in a good place, and you have the contract attached there, and perhaps Paula can just give some highlight on have we landed the contract. What to you, Paula?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Paula.
So, hi, I tried to outline all of the notable changes that were made to this contract. I'll just point out a few. The length of this agreement is from July 1st of 2021 to June 30th of 2024. There was a lot of just kind of language cleanup under like the vacation and the sick. There were some updates under the length of the employment in comparison to how many weeks of vacation. Updates. A lot of it was under vacation. I'm assuming just to kind of fall in line with the other contracts, there was prorated language added in, which falls in line with what our other contracts have right now. You know, kind of splitting it up. If you're hired between July and December, you get a partial vacation. You know, and that just kind of makes us, you know, bigger selling points to not have to wait to have time off when you start the town. Trying to think. Allowance increase from 150 to 350 annually. Trying to think if there's anything else. They also updated the benefits. So it used to be that it was 28 hours a week. That's now 30 in order for you to get benefits. And then the last piece is the salary increases. So it's 2.25% for 2021, 2022, and 2023.
All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that.
Um.
All right, folks, any comments, questions? We thinking we good? I assume, Arosh, this is in line with what's out there.
Yeah, when we compare with the help of Labor Council, of course, but others are doing in 2.25. I think the range right now with everything that's going on.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? No questions, folks? No. All right. If not, we're good to go with our motion here. Where's our motion, Charlie? Let me see. Where are we at here?
Move to approve and authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with home care and school health care workers of Berlin, unit number 20, from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024.
All right, thank you. Second on that? Okay, if there's no other comments or questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Paul.
Agenda item number 6 is additional funding appropriation for the YMCA daycare facility at Hubbard and McGee schools. Our project is almost done, and there were a few things that need to get done to get it over the finish line. And I have Mr. Kugno and Doug. There's no who's going to talk. Doug is going to speak. All right, Doug, over to you. And give us a recap. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors. Certainly want to
How are
thank.
you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Want to thank Brendan. Congratulations, and certainly welcome Charlie and Sandy in your new roles. So appreciate that. Project's going well. We're almost done. Mr. Kugno can speak further. We found an opportunity to do some additional abatement that was not included in the plans and specifications. And also along the way, as the project evolved, some work that was identified within the leases as far as the fencing, the play areas required by the state, and a few other items. We did have some change orders, some adds throughout the project, but we're doing pretty well. Hubbard should be occupied this week, and we're moving forward to finish up McGee in the month of September.
Okay, great. So yeah, we just obviously Doug, right, ran into some issues that we didn't expect, I guess, right?
Correct. There was some partial abatement as part of the project, but there was a opportunity for some betterment while we were under construction. It made sense to do some additional abatement while we were there, and the school was shut down for the summer. That'll help us for future use.
Okay, great. It's good to see that finally moving forward. So questions, folks, any questions? If not, we'll go ahead and we got like three motions on this one, Charlie?
Yes, sir. Move to receive additional construction funds of up to $45,000 from the YMCA into other receipts and appropriate to school modifications YMCA daycare.
Second on that? Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Move to utilize state contract DAS contract number 19PSX0136 and authorize Cornerstone Fence of Meriden, Connecticut to install outdoor fencing for YMCA daycare play areas at Hubbard and McGee schools at a cost of up to $20,000 pending local review and approval.
Second on that?
Second that.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Number 3.
Move to approve an increase of the construction contract with Link General Contracting of Terriffill, Connecticut by $15,600 to an amount not to exceed $361,440.
Second on that?
Second that.
Thanks, Donna. Any further questions on that? Not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Jeff.
Then item number 7 is a discussion about applying for round 2 of Connecticut Community Challenge Grant. This was the first round we applied some time ago. Didn't have enough equity and we were turned down. And as always, Mr. Mahoney has been very creative with this and to capture more other funds that would help the town get additional funding. So you want to tell us the story, Jim? Are you doing this?
Sure. So the, as Arosha said, we didn't have enough equity in the first round because the interpretation was that didn't serve as equity to match the state grant. So we've been looking at trying to identify additional projects or additional equity funds. And appropriately, we're behind that item with the schools and the YMCA. So started thinking about, projects that are underway now and other equity that's really already committed to projects that are nearby in the center of town. And in the first round of the application, we did have elements to create 10 additional apartments at Newport Center, including 5 affordable units. Again, working with Newport, and they were putting some equity into it. And we also had an element of putting a trail connection in back of Newport Center, which would involve land from the land trust, from Newport, and from the Kensington Fire Department. And we need to put a bridge over a swale to access the open space area there. So that was also part of the initial application. So what we're doing is we're thinking that we will add the YMCA and school project whereby as discussed, the Y is building out space for daycare at McGee and at Hubbard, and the Board of Ed is reinforcing its transition academy at the YMCA building on Main Street. And we're going to try to use the equity that the Y is investing in the daycare facilities as part of our equity contribution. And also the Board of Ed has made some what we'll call equity contributions already into the Y building. And the Y has also made improvements to their building at 362 Main Street that would also count. So we're trying to count all these things. And obviously, when we talk about the Y building, it's very close to Newport Center. And so one of our challenges is in our discussions with the state is to characterize this all as one project. And we're really thinking of it as really a TOD center area reinforcement project where we're doing this, the trail, the Y, and also the Newport Center new units. And we're working on putting all these pieces together, again, working with Jeff Krugno at the Board of Ed and John Benigni at the Y and also the Land Trust and Newport and the Kensington Fire Department. But everybody, I think, is on board, and we're hoping that with this additional equity that we're envisioning from the Y's investment in the daycare, which we think is kind of essential to them being able to release the building on Main Street more of a long-term lease for the Transition Academy. And we're hoping to be able to gather funds that we'll be able to use for making improvements to the Transition Academy to make it an even more outstanding facility for that purpose. So that's essentially what we're doing. We just wanted to bring the council up to speed on this plan, make sure everybody is generally on board. And we'll come to you in the next couple of meetings because the The application is due on October 7th and ask you for formal authorization to apply and give you a little more fine tuning on the final details. But this is where we're at. We also are looking at the possibility of including the Langdon Court sidewalks that were part of our recent sidewalk bid, but we are, Public Works, myself, we're working with the state and trying to get that element into the existing steep grant funded aspect. So, and also that may or may not fit into, again, tying this together as one project, but that's on the radar at least. And we'll give you an update at a future meeting very soon. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jim. Questions for Jim? Appreciate you working on this and trying to get some more funding for us with these projects here. So thank you very much. And if there's no other questions, we're all set. No action on that one needed. So,
Great, thank you, Jim.
thanks.
Thank you.
Jim's taking the next one too.
Okay.
Work that we are doing with Laredo Engineering on brownfield cleanup alternatives at Steel Boulevard.
Oh, we haven't heard of this before.
A little bit more.
How many years has this been now?
I don't know.
Oh, my,
Probably before
yes, before you started.
I think longer than Brendan's tenure.
It's it's been a while.
So,
Okay.
Jim, I'll send it to you to give a quick recap here.
Thank you. Just to give you a quick overview on where we are with the project, we did bid the engineer control, which is really what we're trying to accomplish here. That's the good news. The bad news is the bids came in high, so we're evaluating those and we'll be talking to you shortly about where we are with that. We are discussing some additional funding from the state and have to make a decision as to whether we want to go ahead and try to award to the low bidder here or rebid the job, and we'll report on that shortly. But obviously, it was a big progress to get to the point where we bid the job. It's a complicated job, but a couple of additional contract amendments for Lorero. One is we fortunately did get the CROG grant for this project. Was originally intended for the groundwater remediation system, which we find is not needed. So we had to reprogram that for the engineer control, the liner, to cap the contaminated soil on the site. And they did approve that. However, one of their requirements is you have to do something called an analysis of brownfield cleanup alternatives, which we had done before for the groundwater system. And so we had to redo that. So we're looking for some additional funding for the APCA work that Lorero has done and is doing. And again, that will be funded out of the CROG grant. And the second item is, as this project goes on and on, we wanted some additional general consulting funding for Lorero to keep advising us on all these intricate details. So, and that would be funded by the state brownfields grant. So those are our two requests tonight.
Okay, is there a end in sight on this?
Well, if we can
Somewhere?
get the engineer control done, that would be, that's not quite the end, but that would be
Close.
major progress.
Great.
And of course, the engineer control, the engineer control, it will be done in concert with Newport, and one of the things that was holding us up was, Newport had to get to the point where they're ready to do that project, had done the full design, because our work for the engineer control involves them also doing work under this geomembrane or liner to put in their utilities and footings and foundations. So they had the full plans done for those things, and those were all incorporated into the bid document. So, we're way further along. We're really hopefully at the doorstep of seeing this construction going on. And this engineer control will allow Newport to do their 60 apartment units on the project. So that's really important, and that will be big progress. But as I said, we're not quite there. We're reviewing the bids, and we'll tell you that story shortly in the next couple of meetings for sure.
Appreciate it. You have just curious ballpark figure on to date, what we've spent, and thank goodness for the brownfield grants, but is there a rough
I would
figure on that?
say we've spent about, well, spent and obligated on other, to the project so far is probably around 700,000.
Okay, all right.
And the low bidder for the engineer control was 860,000, I believe. And we have, say, on the order of 400,000 or 500,000 left in the state grant, plus the 200,000 from CROG, plus the 100,000 town match for the CROG grant. So, we're a little short on that, and that's why we're looking for the supplemental funding.
All right, thank you. Questions for Jim? If there are none, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Move to waive the town's bidding process and to authorize the town manager to enter into two contract amendments with Lorero Engineering. The first amendment of $4,389 is for additional work on 55 Steel Boulevard, analysis of brownfields, cleanup alternatives, and will be charged to the EPA-CR COG Environmental Remediation Grant account. The second amendment is for $5,000 for general consulting services related to 55 Steel Boulevard and will be charged to the municipal brownfields grant account as is in the best interest of the town.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second that.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jim? Hearing none, I'll vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim. So agenda item number 9 has to do with setting up the meeting for accessory units and parking limitations. It came from planning and zoning. But Attorney Capola has been kind enough to volunteer to talk about this. So Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you. Maureen is there too. I think Maureen's going to kick it off. You're on mute, I think.
I let Jennifer do it. I think she's prepared to something to say.
Good evening again. So this agenda item concerns opt-outs from statutory requirements concerning regulations for accessory apartments or accessory dwelling units, and also parking limitations. The opt-outs are required at both the Planning and Zoning Commission level and also the legislative body level. So that's why it's before the council. You see the requirements in the summary that's been provided to you. So a public hearing is required, and it is necessary that each body state on the record the reasons for their action should they decide to opt out. Planning and Zoning has already acted to opt out, which is why it is now before you for consideration for setting of the public hearing dates. And you're going to be addressing each separately. I have provided you with a copy of the statutes, so you can see what the particular requirements are. The requirements for the accessory apartments, accessory dwelling units are quite lengthy. Then the requirement with regard to the dwelling unit parking limitations is relatively simple. So all you're doing tonight is setting the date for the respective public hearings on these statutory opt-outs. They do need to be acted upon by January 1st of next year. And, we can go into more of the details of the content at the public hearing. So I do encourage you prior to that to please review the statutory content so you have an understanding of what is in there. I do want to mention to you as well that your planning and zoning regulations, there is a regulation for accessory dwelling units that has been in place for quite a period of time. Again, the commission has chosen to opt out of both the accessory dwelling unit, accessory apartment regulations, the statutory provisions for them, as well as the dwelling unit parking limitations. And they did give specific reasons for the public hearing. We will share with you their minutes. I think those minutes will be approved at the next meeting, Maureen. I don't think that they have been as of yet, so they will be acted upon, reviewed and acted upon at the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And then we can pass those along, so that way you can review the reasons the commission gave on the record for the action that they took to opt out.
I
Maureen,
think
did
the
you want
minutes-
to add anything?
No, I think those minutes were approved last Thursday,
Okay,
but I'll verify, and yes, they'll be sent along as well as the decision that the Planning and Zoning Commission made with their reasons for opting out.
does
Right.
anyone have any questions on this?
Any questions for? Jennifer? No? All right, yeah, we will review this and we look forward to seeing the reasoning of planning and zoning too, what their decision said. So we appreciate that. And we'll just go ahead and set this for our public, upcoming public hearing. So couple motions.
Move to authorize the town manager to schedule and advertise for a public hearing and possible action on, including an opt-out from provisions of Connecticut General Statutes -8-20A through 8-20D pertaining to accessory apartments or accessory dwelling units, regulations to be held Tuesday, October 4th, 2022 at 7 PM. A copy of said statutory provisions will be posted with the notice of public hearings on the town council's page on the town website.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second that.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions on this issue? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Number 2, motion.
Move to authorize the town manager to schedule and advertise for a public hearing and possible action on, including an opt-out from provisions of Connecticut General Statutes 8-2D 9 pertaining to dwelling unit parking limitations to be held Tuesday, October 4th, 2022 at 7 PM. A copy of the said statutory provisions will be posted with a notice of public hearings on the town council page on the town website.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second that.
Any other comments or questions on this? Hearing none, I'll take a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved.
Great.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And Maureen, thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 10. This is a request from the Planning and Zoning Commission to remove a member who has been absent for a long time, Mr. John Michael O'Brien. And it provides you, and the charter allows you to do this, and it meets the criteria for removal. Just been absent for a long time, so that's.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, but, you know, everybody has different, you know, sometimes issues getting to meetings, we get that, but this is unfortunately with this gentleman, it's been quite a while and, you know, I think Planning and Zoning tried to work with him and it's tough for him to get there, so. Understandable, and we do want to, you know, fill up the commission though with certainly members that can make most of the meetings. We all know we miss them from time to time, but that's unfortunate, but understood. So is there any other questions on this? We'll go ahead and take a motion.
Move to vacate the appointment of John Michael O'Brien on the Planning and Zoning Commission due to members' absence from meetings.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second that.
Thank you. There's no further comments. Go ahead and vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Right, so moved. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Agenda item number 11 is request from the town clerk, so you might want to think about this one. Bid waiver for the cart systems that the town clerk's office uses for land record software and online indexes. They're a sole service provider. Done it the last few years. Want to add anything Kate, to that?
Thank you.
You sure? Okay, come on. It's still early. Come on, let's talk some more now. Yeah, you've done, yeah, you've done it before.
Get more of the older indexes online and.
Yeah.
This would be an ongoing project.
Appreciate you working on this. We know it's a big project, but you know, I guess we're getting there, right? We're getting through some of it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
60.
Good to hear.
Yeah, we'll be get back to,
Oh,
you know. we'll
Yeah,
go back
60.
To the book, or how the books are set up.
okay,
And then we do links with, the images.
nice.
Kind of cool concept.
Yeah, great.
One day we'll get to 1785.
17. Yeah,
What?
none of us may be here with, by the time we get to 1785.
As you go back.
Yeah.
people are records.
Huh? That's true, right? That is true.
Yeah, handwritten.
Maybe, maybe Jack will still be around when we get to that
Oh, Jack.
1785. Yeah. Maybe, I'll still be around. Anyway, okay.
Looks like Rosso.
Appreciate that, and if there's no other questions on this, we've certainly been familiar with this. Kate, appreciate you taking on this project. We'll go ahead and take a couple motions here.
Move to waive the town's bidding procedures to allow the town clerk's office to continue use COT Systems Incorporated software for land records and dog licensing, provide maintenance, auditing services and supplies to the office for the amount not to exceed $16,110 for the fiscal year 2022-2023.
Thank you. Second on that?
That,
Thank you. If there's no other comments, go ahead and take a vote on this. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. And motion 2.
Move to waive the town's bidding procedures and award a contract to COT Systems Incorporated to host online index books for land records 1964 through 1967, in the amount not to exceed $7,035, with support included in the above motion.
Second on that?
second that,
There's no further comments. Go ahead and take a vote on this motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. Thanks. Thanks, Kate. Taking this on. Okay, so we are now at some appointments here, right? Okay, but so got the Connecticut for persons with disabilities, right? Kate, we have one for that? Okay, and we obviously have an opening, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So the item number 3 and
okay, so we have a applicant here and we have take a nomination.
I would like to nominate Mr. Andrew Pulsini for commissions for persons with disabilities.
It's great. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close those nominations and all those in favor. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh,
I just want to say that I know Andrew.
oh, do you?
I
Oh,
have for a long time.
Oh, good.
He's a great kid.
oh, good.
He'd be a great addition to.
Oh, that's
Good,
good.
thank
That's great to hear. Thank you, Peter. Good. So we'll go ahead and we close the nominations and we'll vote on Mr. Pulsini. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, welcome, Mr. Pulsini, to the Commission on Persons with Disabilities. Next one, what's next on the, oh, Mattabassett's next, right? Okay, on the list here. Okay, so we do have 2 applicants.
Yeah.
To open the nominations for that, make a nomination for that.
I would nominate Mr. Liam Mitchell for the Mattabesset District Commission.
All right, thank you. Any other nominations for that? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. And I, I just, we could, and I know Mr. Argossy's been there for a while and I don't know if, I guess we could reach out to him and see if there's, something else he'd be interested. I know he's volunteered to the town for many things for a long time. He's been, our state rep in the past and the mayor. So I don't know. Kate, what do we do? Do we how do they, do they know like this, how would he, I'm sure he'll hear, but I just, you know, if there's anything else he's interested in, I guess we'll put that out there if he's either listening tonight or, you know, we have other openings, right, on different
Yeah,
commissions.
quite a few other
We do. Can we, would you be able to just communicate how to, with him and just say if there's something else he's interested in, we're happy to consider that? All right, thank you, appreciate that. And then the next one is, well, so the next one is for planning and zoning. And plus she wanted to do, I know she was interested in the cemetery committee too. Could do both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have openings on both.
Yes, you have an opening on the cemetery committee.
So planning and zoning, yeah, planning and zoning, which one is that? That's gonna be, can we fill?
Well, planning and zoning changed
What?
totally tonight.
Yes, but that was my reason. That was, yeah.
We now have 2 openings on P and Z.
So, right,
Yes,
as of 7 o'clock tonight, there was no opening for an alternate. Then, right before the meeting, Mr. Capola was, resigned from the zoning. So there will be in her, and then we just also, vacated another.
right, with Mr. O'Brien. Yeah,
So we could hold this off to the next meeting.
Yeah.
And then get them all lined up correctly.
okay,
You should always between the, the shortest position first, I mean, outside of alternate, but I'm not sure between Candy and, John, which one had a shorter, term.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You better just wait and see.
We could wait and just make sure. You wanna-
Get our ducks in a row and then.
Yeah, we'll do that. We can do that. So that's fine, yeah, because I forgot, yeah, we had really 2 came to fruition tonight, right? So, all right, so,
What about the alternate position?
I do remember seeing.
Yep, yep.
Sorry, just so we know too, I was looking at it earlier and Mr. O'Brien's is up in January.
They're all
So,
up in
but,
January,
yeah,
Yeah.
so-
yeah,
Yeah, we just need to get the years. And then, and I didn't even think to do it tonight, and I thought that you might have had some other, did you have a couple other people? that-
yeah, I think so. I think there was there was another person that I think was interested, which we don't have, yeah.
So let's advertise it properly.
Okay,
Because
that's
it'll
fine.
also be on the agenda.
Yeah,
Correctly.
yep, we can do that.
And then do it.
We can do that, and so all right, so we'll table that, and can we open the nomination for the cemetery commission, right? We can do that. So we'll go ahead and take a nomination for that.
I'd like to nominate Andrew Lou Millard for the cemetery commission.
All right, thank you. Any other nominations for that? Hearing none, we'll close the nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. All right, thank you. Town managers report.
So, few items I want to report to you. We have another session coming up later. Hopefully get some coffee. Late night. So,
I guess we shouldn't be taking August off, huh? Again,
I know.
anymore, whatever.
we have an RFP out for the Golf Pro at Timberland. 2 years ago, we put an RFP out, the dining facility, and we ended up with the same gentleman. Last year, we bid out the maintenance contract, decided not to go ahead with it. Pro's contract is up this December. And like any other contract, anything over 1,000, we are required to go out to bid. I understand the last 12 years, for whatever reason, that was not done. But, just like any of the area with legal counsel to benefits consultants, to investment consultants, to you name it, we're bring all of them out to bid. So the results, they're back on October 4th. Once we have that, I mean, obviously, it's a very open-ended bid. You're asking the person applying to say what he would or she would want to do as a pro, and what would be the retainer and what services would you provide. The current contract, I believe, is too convoluted. It has commissions and, the pro is responsible for managing the staff, the town is responsible for paying. We're taking everything away. We're not asking the pro to do that. We'll manage the golf cart and we'll manage the starters and pay for it, not have a pass through. Right now, we pay the pro to some money so that he could hire the people at the pro shop. And then things like bathroom, he needs to clean it, we give the supplies, it's not working out. I don't know who came up with this, with the idea. So this is PGA's advice.
Okay.
Then we decide to restructure, look at it differently. Originally I wanted to combine the two positions, then, Mark was interested in that, but the PGA advised not to go in that direction. Wanted to separate the two functions and have a true pro run the golf, giving lessons and player development and focus on tournaments and other things, and the management of the operation leave it to the town employee. That's where we are. Once we have the results, I'll work with the chair of the golf commission to come up with a recommendation and bring it to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate your explanation because I've heard some rumblings about things that just aren't true, that were, firing the pro or whatever's out there is floating around. I've gotten a couple calls, and again, we haven't handled this properly. This is the proper way to do it. No one's saying, Mr. Bayram there is, as far as I know, does a great job, but, that's the way we should be handling this, whether, he's got his, will, I'm sure apply and, hopefully things are good, but, yeah, it's just the proper way to do it. I don't know who starts these rumors, but the charter, we've just spent all this time revising our charter, following the charter. We have to follow it here. That's how we do things. So anyway, yeah, appreciate it, Roche. Thank you.
More to come on that.
Yeah.
Just very quick update on the fairgrounds. Remember They had requested to remove the.
Yes.
It's
Oh.
underway.
Oh, good. Great.
It started last Friday and today I don't know because the rains, whether we were able to continue
Yeah.
it, but I plan to continue this week, so it'll be ready before the.
Oh, good.
Sure.
Good.
So,
Thanks.
this was recommended by the PD and the Lions had also requested where the drop-off area, of the trees, so there's more space for buses to pull in and.
If you could call them trees, whatever was theirs,
Yeah,
it
there
looks
was
horrible.
little
It'll look much nicer.
mini jungle there. So.
And they're gonna plant, I think, right, new trees in the spring,
Yep.
the Lions Club, and then we're gonna have time to get they're gonna get millings down there, maybe? Do we have millings to put down?
Is the plan, yeah.
Okay. Because sure as heck, we've been in a drought, but now that the
Oh,
Berlin Fair is coming, obviously it's raining already.
Yeah.
Will continue raining for the next 30
And we
days.
moved it forward just to avoid the rain.
Yeah, well, that's what we did, right? We changed it, but now we maybe moved it closer to the rain now, but
There's
whatever.
Someone in the Chamberlain Highway that had extra millings, I heard.
Yes, yes.
Jeez,
so,
Here we go.
let's not open up the can of worms again, but yeah, so hopefully there's millings and hopefully the rain stops for the Berlin Fair weekend, but even though we need it. All right, thank you. Ron.
And then briefly talk about the leash-free area.
Yes,
It's open. I think it's going well. I had a good meeting with the PD.
oh, good.
And chief had some good ideas in terms of not going to enforce things right away.
No.
A little transition period.
Yeah.
We're gonna come up with some nice cards that say, hey, Berlin has a leash ordinance. Put up a picture of a person and a dog, on a leash,
Oh,
and, refer to the thing, and just if people are not
Yeah.
having dogs on a leash, give it to them.
Yeah.
Like an education process.
Yeah,
Now go right. Yeah, I think we do this for 6 months or so.
yeah, let's
Then
phase it.
maybe give some verbal warning. We're not trying to scare people. We're trying to just educate people and transition and keep everyone safe.
Yeah, sure.
But like, as you heard, people are actually following the rules. They're obeying and they are.
That's great.
Coming on a leash and.
That's nice.
area.
Very surprised.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And I had some interesting remarks from some people that I'll
I mean, there's
the future.
people that, yeah, people have their opinions, but I mean, it seems like it's a nice spot and hopefully it works out. And I know we're kind of in the test period, right? Like you said, and you're gonna just ease into it through the winter and hopefully by the spring, everyone's on board. Thanks.
PD renovation
Yes,
next time or time after they are almost there.
Oh, okay.
Up with a specification that we can go out for bid. So that, and the funding will have to come for that component from the general
yes,
fund.
Right.
And,
Right.
we can fund.
okay,
So.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a conceptual design, but we have to get into the specifics of
Right.
before you sit into a bid.
Right.
What it would include in a bid document.
sure.
Next week or I'm not committing to this, but maybe the one after, only because it's a third party we're working with. Housing Authority, we've had a good couple of meetings with them.
Oh,
Good. Jeff was on the call too, and they have hired they've hired an attorney, right? Woman and County, sorry, different law firm. And they believe they have funding. We still haven't seen the commitment letter, but we have asked some specific documents from them, loan agreements and all of that before we could execute any agreements, because there are brownfield funds that are used to demolish the existing building. And that can happen only if all of the funding is secured and the project's moving forward, so we can let them use it until we have that component.
Yeah.
There's also, they can get the funding before we transfer the title to them. We aren't going to transfer a title, but we are working through some other scenarios where maybe if you don't meet A, B, C, and D, the title transfers back to us. But I don't want to put anything out here. Perhaps next meeting or the one after, I invited the Housing Authority to come in here and we can go through the whole process.
That's great.
Yeah.
I hope we're getting there to the end of this and get this going, I hope. Yeah, progress is being made. That's good. It's been a long road.
Right.
But thank you.
This Friday is the town hall picnic.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing, if you're all available, drop in at the Italian club, everyone's invited.
Yeah, like the last year, that was a nice event. That turned out nice, right? Yeah, that was great.
You can play some bocce, I don't know.
What's it, 11, what's it start, 11? 11,
11
Peter.
11 to onwards, so
Whenever.
11 to 1.
Oh,
And, some folks might come a little bit later.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Drop in
See you there.
At the Italian club.
at the Italian club, yeah.
It was great food last year, I thought.
Uh, Jeff, thank you. We've been working on the opioid settlement with the state, and we got our first chunk of money, about $8,000, and told that we might get a couple of more tranches to 20 something or so.
Okay.
Um,
And where's that going? Like, what do we?
so we need to talk about how we're going to expand it, and there are criteria as to what you can do for prevention, education. Right now, I'm thinking to include, the Board of Ed, Health District, Social Services, the PD. They are the ones who, the first responders and the people who interact with these folks.
Right.
Firsthand. and,
Yeah, makes sense.
See what's the best way to approach it. So we'll have more on that. I don't know, it'll probably take a few more months.
First payment that we got was from the national settlement, but the national litigation includes multiple distributors. A couple of larger ones haven't settled yet. Then there's the state litigation that we're a party plaintiff in. And we haven't received any indication that that's close to settlement. And then there's the Purdue Pharma piece, which we're a claimant in. Purdue Pharma is in bankruptcy. And there's been a lot of, I won't say controversy, but a lot of debate about whether or not the settlement with Purdue Pharma should be approved or not, but it's been approved, so there's,
Did McKesson settle yet?
McKesson is part of the national
Yeah.
litigation settlement that we got the first payment on.
Oh, okay. Just curious on them, yeah. Okay.
We will try to schedule in September, if possible, that joint meeting of the Board of Finance, the Town Council and the Board of Ed.
Yeah.
Um,
That's great.
Al, and the president of the Board of Ed, we met to talk about that meeting and everybody's on board. Just to set some parameters at the beginning of the meeting itself, to understand what charges from the Board of Finance, where they would like us to go in terms of the budget and what we would submit. And also understand their priorities as well, because certain things we will have to think about bonding. For example, if you're going to do police station, and it'll be nice to sort of outline capital, is another piece that we need to talk about, how we're going to pay for it. Then Board of Ed, they will have their priorities. I will ask all of you to, like what you have done in the past, think about the specific priorities. There are things that you want us to put forward in the budget process so that it gets done, because you talk to all the folks outside and hear from people. And again, not broad enough to say fund education, public safety and infrastructure. We all know that. There are specific things you want to make happen. Put it on the table so that when we prepare the budget, in the last few years when we did it, it was much later and it was too late. And I would like to be in a position to tell the department heads and others, this is what we are going for, and have some structure. We have a structure, but structure that lines up with the Board of Finance and the council and everybody else. So goal is to have fewer surprises when we get to March. That we don't have to go back and forth a lot. So more on that. Then this last minute, I got this thing from Kate and Maureen that they want to schedule, this is P&Z, planning and zoning, want to schedule a educational session with council on the opioid, the sorry, marijuana.
Yes, cannabis stuff, yeah.
What they have learned from other towns and things to consider and have that conversation. You came back up, Jennifer. Do you want to say anything about that, or Maureen?
Sure. So the Planning and Zoning Commission has voted to extend the moratorium that they had entered on cannabis uses until May 31st of next year, so that they could more closely review some of the various draft regulations that other towns have already enacted, as well as, and this is really the purpose of doing a combined meeting with the town council, they would like to hear from folks who are in the business about the particulars before deciding what districts to allow potential uses in. And they thought that the council would be interested in obtaining that same information. And then, giving some feedback to the commission on council members' thoughts on the potential uses as well. So that really is the purpose of the combined meeting, is to have some potential business owners or even people who are in the business in other states that have contacted us as well, just to have a conversation about, the particulars of the day-to-day operations and answer any questions that council members may have, that commission members may have. So I think probably what we'll do is, we'll put forth some potential dates in an email to the council members as well as the commission members and arrive at a date, but we'd be looking to do this in October, potentially November.
Okay, great.
Two joint meetings.
Yeah, lots of joint meetings. Yes.
Well, this one in October.
Joint meeting with the Cannabis Commission. That's funny, right there. Very funny. Joint meeting. Okay.
That's all I have for now. I'll have
There you go,
I'll
Mark.
get you to it.
All right, yeah, sorry. He beat us. Two joints, yeah. Points are better than one. Okay, so, thank you. Special committee reports, anything? We don't, nothing, right? We haven't had anything, right? No. Okay, so now we are on, council communications.
I have
Um,
something.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Donna.
So, a while ago, we had the vice chair of housing authority up here. We were talking about possibility of, the Percival Heights Senior Center, the generator, the backup generator that they did not have, and I think she had a quote.
Oh, yeah, that was a while,
Remember,
yeah, that
it's
was a
been
while ago.
We
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
done
yeah.
anything, and
No,
I'd like to get it onto the agenda, and I'd like to talk about the possibilities. I think she was gonna get a second quote or something.
yeah, she was the
And I haven't heard or seen anything from
deputy
her, and I
chair.
think it's real important, especially with the surplus that we have right now, that we address this.
What, was that Michelle? Okay,
Michelle,
yeah,
thank
okay,
you.
thank you,
Okay.
sorry, yeah.
Do you have a way to reach out to her? Okay, if you can reach out to her and find out where we are. I believe she was gonna get a second bid on this. And then perhaps we can schedule her to even come with that information the next meeting. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think we have a nice surplus right now, and I think before the winter sets in, it would be nice to take care of our seniors and have a backup generator purchased. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
What
that's
do you
good.
think? I think.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
yeah, that, because I thought we told her, didn't we
We
tell her
did,
to
and
come
I
back?
thought she was supposed to, but you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Well, I know, everybody
It's not,
drifts.
it's not, we're still not normal, you know? because
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
pushed Everything crazy ways.
drifts off.
So if we can make sure that we get that, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I just want to thank everybody for the help on the charter revision. As you know, I kind of got stuck in the middle of taking the thing over.
Stuck again, Charlie,
But,
stuck again.
I keep forgetting to step backwards. The council and all the members of the commission were great. Everybody seems to be in agreement. And these aren't reinventing the wheel changes. These are just to help the town to move forward. And I hope everybody can convey to their constituents, this is a good move just to make business for the town move smoother. We're not trying to change anybody or push anybody out of the way. This is just make the town work better. So if you could help me convey that to folks, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for working on that with the rest of the members of the commission. So, yeah, thank you. Our newest member of the council, got a lot of words of wisdom for now, for today, after tonight.
You do this at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
No, I'm just.
We're not over yet. We still got our executive session, don't worry.
Close to end.
Yeah, yeah, it's getting there.
No, I'm just looking forward to serving in this capacity, and hopefully help with the town. I'm just looking forward to working with everybody.
All right,
Great.
thanks. Thanks, Andy. Anybody? Other-
Welcome.
Thank
There
you.
go.
One thing just that
Yes.
popped in my mind,
Sure.
changes to polling centers
Ah,
in Berlin.
yes.
It may be a good idea for just the whole council to maybe draft something for the citizen. So that we can get the word out and so that people know that there are resources to check where to vote come November, so that there's less confusion.
Yeah, we,
We
that,
had a plan to put something in this.
didn't we, don't we have a plan to put stuff out?
So what's that plan?
Have to put information out and, my understanding is that we said, that, well, and it was before the primary, so that it was a street listing of what polling places to go to. Now, of course, the thing with the primary is that it was, of course, a Democrat, Republican, majority of people who are registered to vote are unaffiliated.
Mm.
So there's also, signage like in my office with an IP code. And, I believe that they have that available on the website. It is, again, difficult. We talked about this numerous times. It's been in the system. I think anything you can get out there again, I think if you want to do something where you, as a council, you encourage people to go on the website
Yeah.
or call. We did something where, I believe that, Tina Doyle was working with the senior center. You know, anybody from the seniors to help them, not only with the changes of the polling places, but also with the alert system that, town manager was encouraging on, so there's different things out there. It's just a continuous effort to get people to find out about it.
Can we do a half-page ad, if you will, something along those lines where it's big, it's bold, they can see it, from the council and the town manager?
And I think also communicating to place it toward the front of the citizen so that it's not
Inside.
placed in the
cover.
back.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just think the more conspicuous, the better. and-
Second or third page, yeah.
Large, a big piece, and I know that's not cheap.
So,
You
and
know,
it's something that, of course, we'll probably have it in the budget under, this is I will say in the towns that I've worked in, I love the fact that in Berlin, they have one account for advertising, so you're not different dining. But, as you know, it's been kind of a frustrating, effort to talk to a lot of the reporters. They just, this isn't responsive on a lot of things.
If you take an ad, they have no choice. They will put it
They'll
in
take
there.
the money, but about where they put it.
Well, and tell them you want inside front cover.
Yeah,
That's it.
second or third, yeah, definitely second or third
At
page.
one time, it was pretty reasonable to put a flyer in there, a separate flyer.
Yeah, the flyers.
People could keep the flyer. Where do I
But
vote?
do people read the flyers?
Where
don't
they
know.
might throw them out, I don't know. Yeah, we could look at options, right? Whatever you guys are.
We can, I mean, if you want to put an ad, we can talk.
I think we should.
I think even just a letter from the seven of us
Do that too.
is something that, we can
Do both.
control the information that goes in it so that it's accurate and that it's informative.
Yep.
And I would believe that the citizen would be
hope so.
receptive to putting that at the outset. I don't know.
I mean, I think maybe both, I mean, really, I'm worried that, people are gonna be confused with,
I
still.
think maybe if you schedule it, 2 weeks
different
prior to
things.
the election, that might.
You could do a letter and an ad. I
You
mean,
know,
really,
Yeah.
we gotta, we
Yeah,
gotta
why
get it,
not? Yeah.
gotta get it out there.
When it comes to
Just
to
worried.
education, I don't know that you
They're
can.
not gonna, yeah, right? I mean, it's scary. There's a lot of people will be coming out this election. Yes, yeah, no, I was gonna say, we gotta coordinate with them, whatever, I know they have plans too, right? They mentioned, so,
I will say that they've been trying.
Yep.
And that, anyone who came out to vote on the primary.
Yeah.
Found out.
Right.
But also it was, I think, helpful when, and I know the parties did this, is to have people at the other people in places and direct them to wherever they're.
And I still think we should have somebody at the other polling.
Mhm.
can the town,
We talked about hiring people.
or,
We have staff at the senior center. No, you can have.
so maybe that, yeah.
This is where you go.
I mean, outside though, before people get out of their car, what happened?
And I'm gonna speak to the residents, it's not right, because they're in their own department.
Yeah.
But, especially they're elected, but, is that it was difficult to get people to do it. You couldn't really get people from town because, town employees, because they have their own jobs.
Yeah.
But also, you had a lot of keys, and it was extremely.
Yeah.
Oh, that,
Okay,
yeah,
so this is where you also have to plan.
Yeah.
Is that there's been a lot, and it hasn't just been hot, it's been humid and sticky and yucky, and you can't have people out there for long periods of time.
I tell you.
But then when you go to look at it, as you have said, all the fairs are starting, so now, of course, we're gonna have one soon. So that's where you have to watch what happens in November, and I'm sure the registrars will, they've been very open about this, and we'll talk to them about it. But you could have a bitter cold day on November 8th, and people can't stay up in that. long.
Well, even if they, yeah, I mean, maybe there's shifts, maybe they sit in their cars, I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
do that.
yeah.
You can punch the registers, of course.
Yeah, we can see what plan they have, but
Yep.
it's, it's just very worrisome.
I
This time it's the first one and this is where, most of the people are coming
I'd
out.
reach out to the citizen now in terms
Yeah.
of spacing. If you
Mhm.
wait long,
Yeah.
you won't get the space. So
Right.
I would not wait for.
I would do both. I'd do the letter and the ad.
Yeah, I
at
think
times,
both
right?
is
Yeah.
probably the way
Both.
to go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta do it. We gotta
Or
get,
better.
and then the registrar is gonna do more too, and that's great. I think the more that gets out there, the more people will hopefully get it, all right? Pay attention. I hope, that's all we could do. I don't, hopefully we'll get the word out there.
Encourage, like if you're out there,
Tell people,
campaigning.
tell people,
Yeah,
tell people.
I will say that voter education is very important to those that are. Yes.
It's not hard to look it up. I've done it. You gotta do it. You gotta go on the website and look at it, but they are doing it
stuff
and they're trying really hard to get people to do that. So I think that's huge.
So if I hit the citizen, I mean, it's probably a bit too early now. People forget,
Yeah.
people aren't paying attention. I don't know, what do you think? Like, for the letter, I don't know, the letter end of September, beginning of
Probably last week
October?
in September,
Last
early
week in
October. Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe the ad closer,
Yep.
so we
Yeah.
can get it in,
I
right?
would do
Yeah,
2
yeah.
consecutive weeks. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the more, hey, and the more the better, because it's,
just till everybody gets acclimated to the. new-
yeah, I mean, after this year, hopefully they
There's a
will.
lot of important things on the ballot. this
Yeah, there's a
year.
lot. We want people,
So,
we want folks to go there. All right, so that's a good plan. What else? Anybody, anything
I have
else?
One more thing.
Yes.
The Berlin Fair book is
Oh,
out.
there-
so
oh, there you go.
anybody That didn't get one, they're in front of his office downstairs, and I
That's
hope to
right.
see you all there next week. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's already next.
Support the Lions, support the Lions. They
Very
do
next
lots.
Yeah, in the monsoon, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man.
Get your boots ready.
The drought's over. It's over. It's the Berlin Fair. We know it's over. All right. Okay, good. Thank you all. And whatever, we've got 2 minutes to vote on here. If we could have a motion on both.
I move to accept the minutes of the public hearing, July 12th, 2020.
All right, thank you. Second on that.
Second that.
Any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so move. One abstention. Thank you.
And move to accept the minutes from the July 26th meeting, 2022.
Thank you. Second on that.
We'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
One abstention. Thank you. All right, we're good on that. And now on to our executive session. So we need to make a motion to go into executive session at 9:37, I guess. Motion.
And move to executive session for pending litigation for Connecticut General Statute, Section 1-206B, strategy and negotiations with respect to pending claims or pending litigation with Rio Vista. And item 2, personnel matters. Connecticut General Statute 1-206A concerning appointment, employment, performance evaluation of a public employee, town manager evaluation. And we're going to invite in corporate counsel, town manager, well,
Chuck Andrus will call in on the executive session line.
Okay, that should be it. So second on that?
Second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll take just a minute or two to go offline here and get ready.
I did.
All right, see ya. Good night.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.